Showing you the protests that have been erupting at different airports in different cities around the country. We also have reaction to President Trump's immigration executive order by Senators John McCain and Lindsey Graham. Now, they have put out this joint statement saying the executive order sends a signal, intended or not, that America does not want Muslims coming into our country. That is why we fear this executive order may do more to help terrorism recruitment than improve our security. So the joint statement of former presidential candidates McCain and Graham from Donald Trump, he's saying, is wrong. And they are sadly weak on immigration. And he goes on to say that the two senators should focus their energies on ISIS, illegal immigration, and border security instead of always looking to start World War III. So joining me now is Saba, Ahmed, president and founder of the Republican Muslim Coalition, and Harun Mughal, a fellow at the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding. Saba, let me start with you. President Trump says the ban is going to make America safer. But we've been witnessing, families are being tested by this, separated. How is this being received in the Muslim community? They say that this is not a religious ban, but is it being perceived that way?
Well, of course it's being perceived that way because it's targeting a lot of Muslims from the 7 nations. I wish that Donald Trump had looked into implementing the ban in a different way. The way it rolled out was like overnight, and it stranded a lot of travelers, even with valid visas, and green card holders, and even dual nationals with citizenship from one of the 7 countries. So obviously there is a lot of fallout from this, and it's being challenged in courts, and there are stays being given because it's unconstitutional and illegal to hold permanent residents and aliens with valid visas.
And so, Harun, explain, you've been talking to families directly impacted by this. What are they saying?
It's the general feeling that we are under attack. So for people who might not understand what this feels like in this moment, is that if you're part of a Muslim community, you feel like you're constantly tarred with the association with terrorism, with extremism. And you talk about people who are refugees who are coming from places where often the U.S. is party to a conflict. And so we might be bombing them or selling weapons to a regime, and people are being chased out of these countries, forced out of these countries, and then we're slamming the door shut in their face, possibly because they're associated with terrorism. So there's this feeling that you can't escape this. And now we're seeing the same kind of anti-Muslim language in the United States that was in the margins, now entering right into the White House. And so there is a feeling of being terrified that this isn't just a partial Muslim ban, but actually the beginning of something far bigger and far more worrying. And that's why I think the protests in the airports were so moving to people and so incredibly encouraging, is that all these people were coming out, all these Americans, all these different backgrounds, to say that this is simply not acceptable.
And Saba, we see this divide within the Republican Party, Graham and McCain coming out pretty forcefully in their statement. How does the GOP reconcile?
I think we'll be seeing a lot of GOP officials speaking out against this. I think the way it, like I said, it was rolled out was not very efficient, and it obviously didn't even run through the Office of Legal Counsel at the Department of Justice, because U.S. citizens with dual nationality or green card holders have been admitted to this country after extreme vetting. And I agree with Donald Trump about securing the nation and securing borders and watching every person who's coming in and examining and questioning them under the extreme vetting procedures, but at the same time, it should be a case-by-case analysis, not a strict ban on everyone, and including valid visa holders. And I'm sure GOP senators and this is going to get a strict review from the legislative and the judicial branches.
Saba, we got to leave it there. Saba, Ahmed, and Harun Mughal, thank you both for joining us. Thank you for your time at home. That's going to do it for me. Stay with us.